the JEM's biggest camp rather has been decimated in the IAF air strikes. Let's listen in to the commentary given by the Foreign Secretary Vikas Gokhale earlier this morning.
In the face of imminent danger, a preemptive strike became absolutely necessary. In an intelligence-led operation in the early hours of today, India struck the biggest training camp of the jaish-e-mohammed in Balakot. In this operation, a very large number of jaish-e-mohammed terrorists, trainers, senior commanders and groups of jihadis who were being trained for Fidaiin action were eliminated. This facility at Balakot was headed by Maulana Yusuf Azhar, alias Ustad Ghori, the brother-in-law of Masood Azhar, chief of the JEM. The government of India is firmly and resolutely committed to taking all necessary measures to fight the menace of terrorism. Hence, this non-military preemptive action was specifically targeted at the Jaish-e-Mohammed camp. The selection of the target was also conditioned by our desire to avoid civilian casualties. The facility is located in thick forest on a hilltop far away from any civilian presence. As the strike has taken place only a short while ago, we are awaiting further details. The government of Pakistan had made a solemn commitment in January 2004 not to allow its soil or territory under its control to be used for terrorism against India. We expect that Pakistan lives up to its public commitment and takes follow-up action to dismantle all JEM and other camps and hold the terrorists accountable for their actions.
Let's get some perspective on this. Ajay Srivastava is now with us, as well as Bharat Karnad, Professor at the Center for Policy Research, National Security Expert, is also with us. Bharat, let me come to you first. What do you make of this statement? How do you read into this?
Counter response of any kind from the Pakistan Air Force. What has to be remembered is that the Sargodha-based Silak air defense system on the other side is perhaps the best in the subcontinent, and so they had ample warning, I'm sure, of the incoming attack sortie. So the fact that they haven't responded, and the fact that the Indian Foreign Office, gave this as sort of explained this as an anti-terrorist action, it leads me to conclude that the Pakistan military doesn't want to escalate anymore, because the entire world is against terrorism, and Pulwama strike was roundly, denounced by just about everybody, and that's the stuff that the Indian government has used to rationalize and justify its actions. So Pakistan finds itself in a difficult situation because it has the option, of course, to escalate. But I think because it has not escalated by responding in kind immediately, it's a very hopeful sign that this is not going to spiral out of control.
Your view, since they have not responded so far, it's unlikely that it is going to get escalated into a bigger, any kind of an aggressive situation between the two countries, is it?
No, look, we can't say what's going to happen in a couple of days from now, but the fact of the matter is that when you have an attack of this kind inside Pakistan, and the Pakistan Air Force and the Pakistan military has previously warned that they'll respond very violently to any action taken by India of this kind. So the fact that they haven't should suggest that they are rethinking the entire, options, and the fact that should they escalate, you're then getting into an escalatory ladder, wherein India would be compelled to react to the counter-strike, etc. That's how escalation happens. Now, to the extent that that hasn't happened is, as I said, a very hopeful sign, and that there's a rethink in GHQ Rawalpindi, well, let's not escalate any further and have the situation go out of control.
Right, Bharat. Bharat, just stay on with us. Ajay Srivastava is also now joining us on the phone line. Ajay, what is the sense that you get? How are markets reading into this?
Well, it's going predictably as what was expected. India has reacted, stock market reacted in the morning. We are on a powerful emerging market rally. We recovered in the market. And I think the political requirement of an action has been now fulfilled. So I think by and large everybody feels that this is going to not go further than this. Let's put it this way. Everybody goes back happy. Pakistan says we haven't killed, we haven't got any fatalities. India says we've done 200-300, whatever it is. So both sides have got their agenda fulfilled. If financial markets can heave a sigh of relief, we can go back to an emerging market maybe by tomorrow or day after.
Right, but Ajay, as you're saying that markets are taking this as if it's done and it's behind. What is the sense that you get? One market's expecting this with the sort of statements that were coming in, once the attack had actually happened.
Of course, market was pricing in, and that is what you saw the market reduction happening in the last couple of weeks. There's been a big sell-off from the domestic side. You saw it yesterday as well. The good part was that, as I said, emerging market rally took place in the last couple of days. We were the last to participate in it, and we got a good whiff of FI money for the first time in over maybe months at this point of time. So it's by looking at it, everything domestically is not correct, because what we are experiencing is a global revival in the risk appetite and equity market, and we are part of the system. It's got stymied. We have lost some amount of gains we gained yesterday. But I think, you can't ignore the fact that globally it's risk on right now. And India is part of a system, and we all know that they will be responsible enough not to do something all out, which can just kill this market. And Indian economy is very fragile at this point of time. So I'm sure people like us and you and everybody knows that government options also are not that open-ended, given the fragility of the economy at this stage as well.
Right, Ajay, thanks so much for taking out time for us. Bharat, let me just come back to you once again and try and find out the point that you were making, that escalation happens when one retaliates, then another one, and then it keeps going. But what to watch out for in the next 7-8 days or maybe 10 days?
Well, we'll have to see how Islamabad responds really to the Foreign Secretary's statement and explanation. Now, if they're going to refute the Indian case and say, well, the fact is, they have, their first response was, well, these are just some Indian aircraft that came in and, dropped their payload of 1,000-kilogram bombs. So they didn't say anything about the casualties. They didn't say anything about any kind of targets being hit, etc. So they're sought a way out to say, well, this was a fairly ineffectual strike, that nothing has happened, we really don't need to respond. You see the point. They're setting themselves up to say, well, there's no need to respond because they didn't, hit the targets and didn't achieve their aims. So this is the point. I think we should not then contest the Islamabad point of view if you do not want to escalate. You just accept you have done your bit. I'm sure there's going to be, satellite-based damage assessment. Earlier we would send in our Foxbat MiG-25 aircraft for damage assessment of this kind of, after all such actions. We don't have the Foxbats anymore, so we'll rely on our satellite-based, abilities. So, we would be fairly confident that we have done our bit. The Pakistanis can claim what they want, and they'll do so for political reasons, just as the, Indian government has been under pressure all these days after Pulwama. They'll now be under pressure. But they've set up the justification to say, well, there's no need to react because they didn't achieve anything. The Indians didn't achieve anything. So I think that's a good thing. Just do not escalate and have the situation sort of spiral out of control.
Okay, Bharat as well as Ajay, appreciate you both taking time out and chatting with us and sharing your perspective on the terror strike that took place in the early hours of this morning.